Hello everybody, how are you doing today? So I am out here and you are going to be joining me on a garden tour. I did intend to have this up before the 4th of July. Sorry about that. I ended up getting sick for 2.5 weeks and had bronchitis and antibiotic, and there was no way that I could have talked in a video, but hey, better late than never. So, welcome to the summer garden. And these guys here, these are the green stalks that we built together, what was it, month and a half ago? As you can see, we've got some issues here, which we're going to do a soil test because the organic soil that we had picked up this year just has not been great on the plants, and that is what I've filled these containers with, because in our area, finding organic garden soil for containers or raised beds has been a very, very big challenge. So some of these guys are leading the struggle bus. Now I have topped all of these off with some compost, and I've been putting a good amount of plant food in to try and help revive some of them. And you can see these guys, we're starting to get some greener leaves on things, but you can definitely still see some damage. And then this pocket here got double sowed there, so I've got a little bit of kale, and then that's ground cherry right there. And then right next door to that, of course, is going to be all the lovely sunflowers. And we also, of course, this is a container garden here, so we did use the exact same garden soil. Our lawn guy came by and mowed today, thank goodness. We were getting a little shaggy out here, but we had to do the same thing to these beds, as well as the new cinder block ones that we built. This soil has been having issues with water retention and nutrition, it seems like. So all of these got top dressed with 1 inch to 2 inches of compost. So because of that, we now have, oh, look at this. Is that not just beautiful? I have a video on the sunflower garden that we seed started together, and I will try and link that video in the description for this one. So that was the very first sunflower of the year, which if you follow me on Instagram, you guys would have seen the picture of that. And that opened up the day before 4th of July, so the 3rd. And then today, this guy opened up. Check this out. Is that not just, oh, from here, as you can see, we've got, that's a beautiful basil. It's doing so well. And down here, I am so happy about this. I have been trying to grow chamomile for 5 years, guys. 5 years. I've been trying to get a chamomile to take. Finally, we have this beautiful, healthy Roman chamomile coming back. I mean, I can grow it for a season, but it just never seems to come back the next year. So I have totally had chamomile envy from all of these YouTubers who are growing all of this chamomile. I'm like, what is wrong? So the only thing that I could figure is to try moving it into this bed and see if that would make a difference. It's the only thing that I haven't done to try and grow chamomile this year. So there you go. We'll see what happens. I've got one of the calendula here. I've got a few in this bed that are kind of they're leading the struggle bus. I have had issues growing calendula in the past, seed starting it in particular. I had more success seed starting this year, but I used a different potting mix, and I think that's part of what made the difference. And I'll show you over in one of the garden beds where I have a larger calendula growing, and there's a volunteer calendula that came back from last year, so even better. Now over here we have the strawberries. Now we have the same issue here, the same soil issue. So these guys have kind of been leading the struggle bus, but just yesterday we came in, clipped everything back, gave it some organic food on top, watered it really, really well, and honestly, the ones that are here really seem to have perked up significantly. If you recall, this would be about 2 months ago, I think. We planted in here, this side is all of the Mayflower pole bean. I gave you a little bit of history on that. This was a bean that came over originally on the Mayflower, so really cool history, and I do love a plant with some history. I love that. I know it's nerdy, but that's just me. Now on the other side, as you can see, our Mayflower is trying to take over, but we also have the cowpea, or the old timer. I think it's either old timer cowpea or just cowpea, or there's multiple names for it. Basically, it's a bush bean, and these beans are not going to be like a green bean. They are a drying bean. So since I have 2 dogs that are mostly vegetarian at this point, having some extra dried beans on hand, because we enjoy eating beans and cornbread. I don't know about you, but we do enjoy beans and cornbread here. And the dogs, obviously, this is one of their protein sources. So this is something that we're just trying to see, number one, what we're going to get as far as yield for our space and what we can dedicate, and also to see how they taste, because we have no idea how they're going to taste. Everybody said that they tasted wonderful, but you know, taste is subjective. Also, I'm very glad about this. It is a zinnia. Here is that volunteer calendula that I told you about. And this just randomly popped up. I saw it popping up and I was really suspicious that it was a calendula, but I wasn't 100% for sure. And boop, there it was. Right next door to it, this is the calendula that I started from seed this year. And it's the strawberry blonde calendula. And it has a very, very lovely bloom on it. We've got another one that's coming up there. So I'll be looking forward to that. There's also a basil tucked in there to go with the tomatoes. Really good at helping with the pest population. Just keeping that down. Having the root system in there with the tomatoes means that I don't have to spray my tomatoes as much throughout the year. Also, over here, we have more of the Mayflower bean, and then we have a very, very lovely tomatillo that is growing up in here. We've actually got 2, this guy here and then this guy back here, both of which are a seed variety that's specific to our zone. So I just found this out on Sunday from another gardener who is local to us, and he's been gardening, I don't know, at least 20 years, probably longer. He's probably been gardening all his life, actually. But evidently tomatillos don't do well in our area, so when we were trying to grow the tomatillos that we were purchasing from the store, even organically, they just never ever did anything. I accidentally found seeds for tomatillo specific to our area, and they are doing great. So, okay, this guy here This is about an 8-foot bed total. Inside in the main is about 7.5 roughly. And this is where we have the bulk of the tomatoes. Now there are some tomatoes in here that are kind of what I am calling mystery tomatoes, because we had a mini greenhouse, portable, that I had been using to start the seeds, but it ended up collapsing on me, and one of the trays that it collapsed with happens to have been tomatoes. So I have some tomatoes that are just mystery tomatoes. I'm not sure if they're the Black Crim, the Purple Boy, the Genovese, the Roma VFN, or the Yellow Pear. So we're just kind of in a guessing game. But there's a few that I can identify for you. So this guy here, let me see if I can get you a good shot. All right, now this guy that's totally loaded, okay? This is one of my indeterminates, and this is the Genovese, and it is an Italian tomato. It is good for slicing, it is good for saucing, it is good for just eating if you want to just, you know, eat some fresh tomato. Let me get that out of the way. And so far, it seems to be the most prolific out of all of the varieties that I've done this year. This one is an indeterminate, and it is supposed to be, it's an heirloom, but it is supposed to be disease resistant and pest resistant. So I have great hopes. I'm gonna hold out until I taste the tomato, but I have a feeling that that tomato might end up being a staple if it ends up tasting as good as the description says it's gonna taste. It's supposed to be meaty, but we'll see. This guy here, this is a Purple Boy, so definitely not as full. You can kind of see the foliage. Let me back you up here. The foliage isn't as full. That is not a problem. There's nothing wrong with this at all. This is totally normal for a hybrid type tomato. I do need to work on getting it trellised up here. I noticed that this morning, but didn't have a chance to get to it. So obviously totally healthy. We've got a bunch of blooms that are going to be starting on it soon. So I'll be looking forward to trying that. And then over here, this guy is the Yellow Pear, and it's also an indeterminate. And as you can see, it's got itsy bitsy little dudes here. Let's see if I can get you down here. There we go. Yeah, so those beauties are coming up. Okay, so this one is another hybrid right here. This is the Roma VFN. And then right behind it, you can see we've got another basil. So there's a basil on the end, a basil in the middle, and a basil on the end over there. We love basil. I actually make homemade pesto with it, so it's not gonna go to waste by any means. But once again, really good to help deter the pests. So as you can see, we've got flowers coming out. Very healthy plant. I'm very happy with how it looks. Roma tomatoes, at least the ones that I have grown so far, have tended to be a little bit more compact. They don't seem to get as leggy as other varieties, but they are slower to come on. So if you are looking at dealing with small space gardening like we are, or if you're even smaller than we are, this may be an option that you want to consider. Roma tomatoes are considered a paste tomato. I enjoy their flavor. There are some people that don't, but I enjoy the flavor even just sliced from the garden. I've not had any of the people talk about a high acid content with them, but honestly, most of mine have been sweet anytime I've grown them and gotten them off the vine. So I think that's just going to be up to your palate. And then this one here, I'm thinking, this is a mystery tomato, but based upon the way it's growing, it's more bush-like, less upright, but it's also not nearly as leggy as the yellow pear. So I'm actually thinking that this is another Genovese, which is okay. I'm all right with that. I've got absolutely no qualms about that. And then this guy here, this one is also, let me get you up here. I gotta get you around plants, sorry. Okay, this one here is either a black crim, I'm thinking, or a purple boy. I'm not sure which. It is also a mystery tomato because, see, I've got tags. And the ones that don't have tags, like this one here, this is another yellow pear. And I'm going to need to find somebody who wants a tomato. But let me go ahead and introduce you to berry row. All right, so over here, now we have done extensive research. I've done extensive research. My mom's done extensive research. We settled on the variety of blueberries and raspberries that are a cupcake variety. In other words, they're really, really good for container gardening. Now, if you're in a warmer zone where you don't have to worry about roots staying warm over the winter, you could totally do these in a pot. Now, you could do these in a pot in a cooler zone too. You would just have to bring them in over the winter to make sure that the root base didn't freeze. But we have managed to get blueberries off of these guys. Let me show you. See? Check these out. I mean, hello. We were not expecting, we really weren't expecting berries, but they came fully loaded. We got these from fastgrowingtrees.com. I'll try and put a link in the description below for you. I don't have any affiliate links or anything, but every single thing that we've gotten from them, we've gotten trees, we've gotten bushes from them. All of them have been very healthy, very happy, and we haven't lost any of them. And that's including last year when the transit was really, really, really slow. They were still alive. So, I mean, come on, you can't deny that. All right, now let me show you our raspberries. So these are the raspberry bushes, also the cupcake variety. These guys are gonna get about 3 feet high by maybe 3 feet wide. 2 to 3 foot wide. So I went on ahead and planted them a little closer together. I'm basically trying to create a hedge because, I mean, you know, that's kind of ugly. Who wants to look at it, really? I mean, it's a necessary evil, but nobody wants to look at it. The really awesome thing about these is that once we get into fall, the leaves turn really, really cool colors. It's striped with red and it's sort of a lime green behind it. So it looks really, really stunning in the fall winter season. So side bonus, plus raspberries. Of course, right now we're not gonna, there's grass all over these guys, sorry. We're not gonna see raspberries most likely this year, but that's okay. We were not expecting raspberries this year. Frankly, we weren't expecting the berries to bear anything this year just because it usually takes at least a year, sometimes 2 years, for you to see fruit off of berry bushes. So, all right, so this is a caning blackberry. This may end up biting us in the backside. I don't know. We'll find out. But friend gave us these blackberries. Really, I only need one to survive, but this guy's looking like it's trying to live. He's leading the struggle bus a little bit more in comparison. This guy here is definitely definitely happy. So the caning variety, they are going to shoot up, as their name states, very large canes. So I'm anticipating having canes and potentially having to trellis a little bit. I don't know 100% for sure. We'll see. We'll definitely be cutting it back, probably yearly, after it gets to full growth. So that's going to be by at least year 2, because it will take over if you do not keep it cut back. Now we have some elderberry over here too, and yeah, I need to get in here and weed. Things got so behind while I was down with that bronchitis. I was not able to come out here and weed and fertilize like I needed to be weeding and fertilizing, so that really kind of stunk. But these elderberry are more of a dwarf type elderberry. They stay a little bit shorter. I think they cap out at about 4 feet tall. River Hills, I think, is the website that we got these from, and they are a American elderberry farm located in Missouri. And we got 3. Only 2 of them have produced any leaves. That's okay though, because honestly we have these other 3. This one we purchased last year, and this one was purchased last year. And this one, there was a storm. It was smaller at the time, granted, but a branch ended up breaking off of it. And so my mom just dug a hole, put some compost in, and stuck it in the ground to see if it would live, and voila, this guy came up. So we ended up with 3, and these are from last year. These 2 we planted this year. So from here all the way down to the blueberries, those have all been planted this year. All right, so that is the garden as of July. Before long, there's going to be fruits and vegetables coming in, and you'll be getting to see all of that growth. We're a little bit farther north as far as zones go, so we're not out of our normal time frame for having tomatoes and cucumbers. It's still considered early for our area to be having tomatoes, so we're pretty much right on schedule, other than the blueberries. The blueberries just keep popping, so I can't complain about that. I'm very, very blessed all the way around. But I'm gonna go on ahead and sign off. It's time to get in and have some dinner. So guys, as always, keep it simple, natural, and essential. I'll see you on the next one.